Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Pat Vickers, Advanced Gerson Therapy. There's a video out there circulating on the internet that Chris Wark from Chrisbeatcancer posted yesterday on his Instagram account, where he's telling people with cancer or without cancer that unequivocally they should be consuming soy on a daily basis because of its benefits in cancer prevention and cancer treatment. And I find that a little bit of dangerous advice to be giving people because the reality couldn't be any further from the truth. And I'm going to go into that in a second, but I'm going to start by, speaking in defense of what Chris had to say about soy. And the first thing he mentioned was soy is high in a compound called genistein. And the studies on genistein and its benefits in cancer go from here to the ceiling. There's no denying that. Genistein is a compound within soy that has proven benefit in the treatment of cancer. But the question is, at what cost to the human body when you're getting that compound from soy? And I'll go into that in a second and explain why there are more rational ways to, benefit your cancer treatment other than soy. And in defense of the second statement was, and this is why he said soy gets a bad rap, is because it's a plant-based phytoestrogen. And that's actually a reason why, you might consider consuming it, because it has phytoestrogens in it. So estrogens today are majorly responsible for the explosion of your hormonal-based cancers, hormonal-driven cancers. Estrogens are everywhere in our environment today, in our foods, even worse in our environment, the synthetic estrogens, anything with an artificial aroma, whether it's soaps, shampoos, detergents, scented candles, all of these things that we have in our environment today that have these artificial aromas are made from synthetic or what are called xenoestrogens, which are 10 times more volatile on the human body than natural estrogens. But nevertheless, soy is high in phytoestrogens. So phytoestrogens, they're a weaker estrogen that can bind to estrogen receptor sites on tissues and can actually serve as a protective mechanism against those more aggressive synthetic and natural estrogens that can fuel cancer growth. So when considering that soy is high in genistein and it is a phytoestrogen, one could make the argument that soy is beneficial when you're treating cancer. However, there's another side to that story. And before I go into that, I'd like to preface a little bit of the history behind soy consumption. The Chinese were the ones who really initially started to consume soy right around 700 AD. Up until 700 AD, they really didn't consume soy. They used it as a cover crop in their fields and would turn it under because it had an uncanny ability to fix nitrogen into the soil so that their crops could grow. And it wasn't until they learned to ferment soy that they began to consume it, okay? And the reasons why they had to ferment it was because what we're going to talk about now, and that is the dangers of soy. So let's talk about why unequivocally no cancer patient should ever be consuming soy in their cancer treatment protocol. First, soy is high in something called antitrypsin factor. Now, when you eat, obviously your body digests your food. It goes into your stomach where it's acted on by hydrochloric acid and pepsin, and it's broken down into byproducts and then passed on into the duodenum. Now, sitting right there at the entrance to the duodenum is your pancreas. And your pancreas produces amylase to break down carbohydrates, lipase to break down fats, and it produces trypsin to break down protein. Well, soy is loaded with antitrypsin factor. It blocks the action of trypsin in your body so that you can't properly break it down. Now, when you can't properly break down a protein to its secondary byproducts in the gut, the immune system will set up an autoimmune reaction against it. In 25 years of doing what I do, actually going on 30 now, of doing what I do, some of the most sick, deranged guts that I've ever seen are people who use soy as their primary protein source for this factor alone. The antitrypsin factor in soy blocks the action of the enzyme trypsin so your body cannot break it down. And because your body cannot break it down, soy is a highly concentrated vegetable protein. And the seeds that they use today, and this is organic or non-organic, the seeds that they use today in the United States have a denser protein content than the seeds that they're using traditionally in the Asian culture. And so that compounds the problem of antitrypsin even greater. Because when you don't break that protein down into its proper byproducts as it passes through the gut, the body's going to set up an autoimmune inflammatory reaction within the gut. And if you're going to heal any disease, particularly cancer, you have to heal the gut, not cause an autoimmune inflammatory reaction against it. So that's the main reason why you should not be consuming soy. Another reason why is because soy is extremely high in phytic acid. And phytic acid, we know, blocks the absorption of very vital minerals, nutrition in our food. And so you don't want to consume soy because it's high in phytic acid. Now let's talk about soy milk, because Chris also tells people that they should be consuming soy milk as well, any kind of soy, but that includes soy milk. Well, not only does soy milk contain the things that I just mentioned, it's also high in a chemical called lysine, which is an alkalizing chemical agent they use to make soy milk. Lysine is a carcinogenic, plain and simple. So someone who is trying to heal themselves of cancer and trying to prevent cancer certainly doesn't want to be introducing a very carcinogenic chemical in the form of lysine. So that's yet another reason you don't want to consume soy. Tofu, organic or not organic, is known to be high in hexane residues, which again they use in the processing of tofu. Now, what's hexane? Well, hexane is gasoline minus 2 carbons. Octane is gasoline. Hexane, hex meaning 6, is 2 carbons less than octane, oct meaning 8. So there are hexane residues well known to be in your tofu-based products. So these are the reasons why soy should not be consumed on a regular basis by anyone, if at all, but particularly a cancer patient, okay? Now, people argue, well, people have been eating soy for years in Asia. Well, the reality is this. Believe it or not, Asians consume very little soy compared to the average American. So much soy is hidden in our food products today that by the end of a day, we're consuming 4 to 5 times more soy on a daily basis than your average Asian. And as I mentioned earlier, the seed involved in Asian production compared to the seed involved in American production is exponentially different as it relates to protein. I think the name of the genus of soy that they use in Asia is soya glycine, and the genus of soy that they use in the United States, I think, is called soya max. And that reflects the difference in density of the protein structures, which make it much more difficult in American-based soys to break down, especially given the fact, again, of the antitrypsin factor in soy. So that's not the first time I've had to correct Chris. I mean, 13 years ago when I met Chris, I had to walk him off the ketogenic cliff because he was ready to, jump on that bandwagon until, again, I gave him the science behind the ketogenic, theories of cancer treatment, which are as ludicrous as consuming soy for cancer. Nevertheless, when the Chinese fermented soy, a lot of those compounds, the dangerous compounds that I mentioned, they dissipate. The antitrypsin factor, the phytic acid, those things disappear in fermentation. And that would be your miso and your soy sauce. Well, what's the problem with miso and soy sauce today in modern production? It's absolutely loaded with salt as a preservative. Because when you ferment it, now you've created this live product, but you have to preserve that live product, and they do it with what? Sodium. And so the content of sodium in soy and miso today is 1 tablespoon is literally 4 to 5 times the recommended daily allowance of sodium on a daily basis. So even though you're getting rid of those those deadly compounds of antitrypsin, phytic acid, you're causing the overconsumption of salt, which is, if you followed me in the Gerson therapy and you've heard my lectures on how sodium destroys metabolism, which you need to restore in order to heal disease, you'll understand why today, even consuming fermented soy loaded with sodium is probably as dangerous and deadly as consuming soy itself in the form of tofu, soy milk. So if you come across that video, understand that if you're going to be consuming soy as a cancer patient especially, your chances of healing yourself have decreased probably by 90% or more if you're going to be consuming soy on a daily basis. That is the unfortunate reality. So that's it for now, everyone. Stay tuned over the next few weeks. I'm going to be producing some videos where I will take you through the deep cellular science behind Gerson therapy. I'll be taking you through the science behind metabolism and the 5 phases of metabolism that you must address, and of course, prevent disease, as an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. He's been dead 65 years now, 66 years, and to this day, nobody has understood how you have to reverse all 5 stages of deranged metabolism in the human body to reverse advanced disease. And I'm going to take you through those 5 stages individually, and then I'm going to take you through the specific supplement protocol on Dr. Gerson's therapy and the advanced Gerson therapy that is part of that program. People think that the Gerson therapy is just juicing and coffee enemas. Well, it's a lot more than that. There's a very specific supplementation protocol that is specifically designed to restore and alter naturally proper metabolism. So stay tuned for those over the next couple of weeks, and feel free to comment and share your comments on our Facebook page, Instagram, and we'll talk to you soon.